In this speech, we're going to discuss ancient world civilization, specifically between Rome and Greek civilizations. So we'll start with a brief description of culture and civilization. The usage of the word culture dates back to the 19th century in the era of modern English. Due to varying school of thoughts, culture is extended far beyond its meaning and social implication, therefore defined in various ways. According to one school of thought, in 20th century popular culture, culture is defined as various art forms and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively. It is also defined as the ideas, customs, and social behavior of particular people of society. Civilization is a concept of culture described as a complex way of understanding how the urban culture was adopted by humans. Civilization was initiated from the borders of Iraq and then slowly headed towards the shores of Egypt. Civilization, in broader terms, can be defined as the type of culture developed by a particular nation. Civilizations can be seen as systems of urban communities that rise up out of pre-urban societies and are characterized by the financial, political, military, social, and social associations among them. Any association is a mind-boggling social framework and a human advancement in vast association, Ricci 2013. Culture and civilization is often confused with similar meanings and is often used by people interchangeably. But they are two different contrasting terms in European culture. Greater confusion is created with the holistic definition of culture civilization that even exists today. Culture, from the Latin word cultura, is the more seasoned term and compares to the Latin shape, moreover, in its substance. The term human progress, from the Latin word civis, was authored in 18th century France and later likewise in England. Be that as it may, Germany researchers favored society with its complex of implications. Now we'll take a look at the existence of ancient cultures. Anthropologists have stepped into a figurative time machine in order to unlock the secrets and hidden treasures of the ancient cultures. With this, the search about the legacy of the city dwellers and descendants of ancient cultures continues. The literature available related to ancient cultures today and civilizations gives an extraordinary apparatus of examining the introduction of human progress. By taking a gander at workmanship, engineering, innovation, social association, compositions, and different focuses, anthropologists see the astonishing parallels that were created in these autonomous social orders, and also their purposes and their uniqueness. During human evolution, at a certain instant of time, a thought came into mind, which was based on the idea of living in a group with mutual understanding and consensus. Gradually with this, mutual living and dependency embedded and became a useful, practical style. From such little separate gatherings, groups were formed. At that point came the social orders, which in due time turned into a human progress. The research on how human attitudes and the brain prompted this colossal change and still is well accepted among historians and anthropologists today. Some popular ancient culture and civilizations include the Incas, Aztecs, Roman, Persians, Greek, Chinese, Mayan, Egyptian, Indus, Valley, and Mesopotamia. Historians and anthropologists broadly study all of these ancient civilizations. However, among all of these, the two that have greatly become the most popular of the research are the Roman and Greek civilizations. Historians and anthropologists are constantly concentrating their efforts in evaluating the similarities and differences between these two ancient civilizations, which dates back to many centuries ago. Furthermore, efforts are also being made in hypothesizing why the reasons for the existing similarities and differences between the two cultures exist. Another intriguing part of the study highly focuses on how these two ancient civilizations have impacted societies previously and are likely going to impact modern society in due course of time. We'll take a look now at the Roman civilization. The Roman civilization came into the picture on the big screen in 6 BC. The story behind the foundation of ancient Rome is no less than a legendary story. The major concern is that the story is filled with myths, which makes it difficult for historians and anthropologists to filter out the realities and the fakes of the Roman civilization. However, at the stature of its energy, the Romans ruled over the greatest piece of area in that time. All present-day areas encompassing the advanced Mediterranean Ocean were a piece of antiquated Rome. Early Rome was represented by rulers. Yet after just 7 of them had ruled, the Romans took control of their own particular city and ruled themselves. They had a chamber known as the Senate, which ruled over them. Here began the Roman Republic. Rome additionally saw the rise and fall of a portion of the best heads in human progress, as Julius Caesar, Trajan, and Augustus. The Roman realm at last was overwhelmed by a huge number of barbarians from the north and east of Europe. Now we'll look at the Greek civilization. What makes ancient Greek civilization a popular subject of study among historians and anthropologists is not how old the civilization is, but why they are the most influential civilization to have ever existed in the world. Undoubtedly, the ancient Greeks may have been one of the oldest civilizations in the world, but additionally, one of the most influential of the world as well. It is important to understand that the rise of antiquated Greece originated from the Cycladic and Minoan development. There is evidence of entombments found in the Phrakke cave in the Argolide that date back to around 7,250 BC. It is also noteworthy to understand that the historical backdrop of the human advancement is scattered over such a tremendous time frame that historians needed to separate it over various periods, the most prominent of them being in the Archaic and the Hellenistic periods. Popular initiatives of Greek civilization include making the antiquated Olympics, the idea of government, and a Senate. They made the base for present-day geometry, science, material science, and so forth. Pythagoras, Archimedes, Socrates, Euclid, Plato, Aristotle, and many more are part of the modern history books today. History books are loaded with such names whose developments, hypotheses, convictions, and heroics have had huge impacts in the resulting civic establishments that came. The most amazing aspect of the Greek civilization that clearly symbolizes that they were one of the most influential civilization is the fact that many significant Greeks were in the spotlight. A hefty portion of them changed our methods worldwide. A significant number of them are still discussed today, while some of them presented popular scientific laws and theories that are still used today. Now we'll discuss the significant similarities between the Greek and Roman civilizations. After careful analysis, historians and anthropologists have come to the conclusion that there is only one civilization that shares close ties with the Roman civilization, and that is the Greek civilization. Apart from the fact that they ended up being a very different civilization on their own, there can be no rejection about the influence they had on each other. Roman Empire started after the fall of Greek Empire. Both the civilizations shared greater similarities, including political and religious views. Greeks and Romans had similar religious views. Both the civilizations believed in multiple gods. The Greeks had Zeus, the ruler of the divine beings, and the Romans utilized Jupiter. Both the civilizations worship the same god, only with an alternate name. They have essentially all the same divine beings with simply name changes. In other words, both civilizations were polytheistic. The gods of Rome and Greek were similar. The duties and roles were explained by their attributes. Another similarity that both civilizations shared was the social structure, such as both had legitimate residents who had the privilege to vote at specific times in specific spots. Furthermore, both were based upon subjugation and were expansionist in nature. The old Roman and Greek civic establishments had all around composed political procedures that incredibly affected the way in which later governments were organized in Europe and in the United States. The arrangement of political gatherings and foundation of division in government, even political words, for example, voter-based systems, government, and oppression, started in antiquated Rome and Greece. Now we're going to look at the impact of the civilizations in modern society today. The Roman society enormously affects modern societies, extending from the laws to the religion. The laws in the United States have been based subsequently by the Romans and Greeks. The formation of the Senate has been taken from the Romans. The formation of common law is also another accomplishment of old society, which is still relevant in the cutting-edge society today. The laws presently are all taking into account the past occurrences and the codes of law made previously. Moreover, the letters we read on our screen are shared from the past, from the Greeks, which are presently cleaned and displayed to use in present society. The dialect of Roman human advancement undisputedly affects the European district still today. The political influence has been left intact by these two civilizations, as the centralized culture was from Rome, where the authority lies at one point, and the decentralization model was founded by the Greeks, where the powers are carried down the hierarchical ladder.